Hello, my name is Tracy Allen, and I want to welcome you to Cooking with Some Friends. Good morning and welcome to Cooking with Some Friends. We're getting ready to go out the door for one of my granddaughters has ball games today, and she's in a tournament, so we'll be gone all day. So I have a couple of things to get ready for. One, I've got Sunday dinner for everybody coming, and the other one, we have an event going on, and so we're making potatoes and barbecued chicken and green beans and desserts and homemade rolls, those kinds of things. So anyway, I'm going to show you an easy recipe for cheesy potatoes. Now, I have another recipe that one of my sons loves, but it's a lot more time consuming. And so I'm going to show you the easy version. So I have a cup of sour cream that I'm going to put in my bowl. And I'm going to do most of this up right now, but I'm going to cover and refrigerate it, and then I'll bake it in the morning before the event or before lunch, Sunday lunch. And then the next thing I'm going to put in there, I actually have two options, and I've done it both ways. You can put cheddar cheese soup in, or you can put cream of chicken soup in. So whichever one you want. And I'm doing the cheddar cheese this time. Okay. I'm also going to add in about a quarter cup of green onion that I've diced up, and this is enough for 2 batches. So, and I have a half a stick of butter that I've melted, and I'm going to put in about a quarter to a half a teaspoon of seasoning salt. You don't want too much salt because the soup and the cheeses and those things will have salt in them as well. And I'm going to add in about a cup and a half of shredded cheese. And you can use sharp cheddar, mild cheddar, a cheddar blend. And I want to mix those ingredients. And then to that, I'm going to add a bag of the country style or the diced up hash browns from the freezer section. So there's my mixture. Once I get this all mixed together, I'm going to put it in my sprayed aluminum pan for the one I'm taking to the dinner that we're doing, and the other one I'll put in one of my casserole dishes. But just before I put these in the oven, so I'm not going to do it yet, I'm going to take about a cup and a half of cornflakes and 5 tablespoons or so of melted butter, and I'll put that over the top of this. Anytime you do any kind of a casserole, whether it's potato casserole or anything else, you really need to top it with something to kind of hold the moisture in, and sometimes that can be cheese, which I will put another half cup of cheese over the top of this when I get it in the pan, and then I would put my cornflakes over the top of that. So there's our potato mixture that's going to go in our aluminum pan. When this is all done, I'm going to bake it at 375 until it's nice and bubbly and browned on top. And that'll take it, not quite, but almost 30 minutes. Hello and welcome to Cooking with Some Friends. It's a chilly, rainy evening, and I am going to make some potato soup for our supper tonight. And so I've got some of the stuff done ahead of time. I cubed and parboiled about 3 cups of potatoes. I cooked some rice. I have diced up some onion, and I have a ham steak that I cut up. And I have about 8 ounces of Velveeta that I've cut up. I've got some milk, three cups of milk, some flour, and a stick of butter. So in my old Dutch oven, which is really good for soup, but it's not very pretty, I am going to melt 1 stick of butter. And in that stick of butter, I want to saute that onion that I chopped up. So I want to get that off my tray. Don't need that 1 piece of ham in there. Okay. So I'm just going to cook this till the butter melts and the onion starts to get tender. And you could add a little more onion than I do. But you just want it to flavor it. You don't want it to overpower the rest of your soup. Okay, my butter has all melted and my onions are tender. So now it's time to add that flour to make a roux. And this will be the thickener for our soup. And like I said before, anytime you make a roux, you want to make sure that once you add the flour, you let it cook just for a little bit so it takes that flour taste away. The nice thing about prepping everything ahead of time, like I did over here, is then once it's time to make the soup portion, it's just a matter of combining things. My 3 cups of milk are going to go in here. And as your soup cooks, if it gets a little too thick for you, then you can always go ahead and add a little more milk, or even a little half and half to it. At this point, I'm going to add just a little bit of salt and pepper. And again, this is to taste. So I'm going to add not quite a half a teaspoon of each, because that ham will have some salt in it when it was cured. The cheese will have some salt in it. And I just want to make sure this cooks just a few minutes until the milk is warm. And then I'm going to go ahead and add the cheese so it can start to melt down. I have my heat just a little bit above medium-high. A lot of times when we make chili, and I mean me, I will make soup as well. Sometimes I'll make potato soup, this recipe. Other times I'll make vegetable soup. That way if the kids or some of the people that are here don't necessarily want chili, they have another option, and both are good when the evenings are cool, and they both feed a pretty good crowd. Okay. So now I want to add that Velveeta, and I'm going to cook this until the Velveeta melts down. My cheese has started to melt down, and it still isn't completely melted, but that's okay. You want to make sure you're stirring this pretty constantly because you don't want your milk to scorch on the bottom of your pan. So now I'm going to go ahead and take that ham steak that I cut up, and I'm going to put it into our soup. And you could just use ham that you have left over, but I like to buy a ham steak and use the whole thing. And that way, I like to keep them in the freezer. That way, if I decide to have potato soup, we're ready for it. Okay. Then I'm going to add 1 cup of already cooked rice. Get that full. Stir those together. And the rice adds a little bit of flavor, but it's a great filler as well. And the last thing I need to add are my potatoes that I've gone ahead and cooked and drained. Now I just need these to heat together so the flavors kind of marry a little bit. And then it is ready to serve. Thanks for joining us for this session of Cooking with Some Friends. Make sure you like this video and subscribe to our YouTube channel. And find us on Facebook at Cooking with Some Friends.